Greetings, all you miraculous people out there. I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'm coming at you with the Season 3 episode of Miraculous Ladybug, titled Reflekdoll. Now, this episode is very interesting, as it answers a question I've long since had, but after a while of continuous repetition, getting into the groove of this overall series, I kind of stopped asking this question. I just stopped thinking about it. But when having it just come about in the way that it happens really just kind of takes me off guard and just makes me go, oh yeah, I was wondering about that. But enough of that. Let's get into the episode proper, as we open up with Ladybug and Cat Noir going off of another daring adventure, a cold opening where they've just defeated yet another Akuma. However, we see that there's a bit of a bump in the road in terms of their relationship, whereas Ladybug and Cat Noir are actually kind of giving little jabs at the nature of their roles in terms of superheroing, with Cat Noir saying that he has more fun, he's more free, he's actually more easygoing, he loves the way he does things, whereas Ladybug feels that now her way is a little bit better. She's more thoughtful, more methodical, she's plans everything out in advance, and neither can really see the benefit of each other's abilities and the way that they do things. They feel that they wouldn't last a mile in each other's shoes. So immediately on that, you can already tell where this episode is going. Meanwhile, we see that Juleka and Juleka are actually talking things out over what Juleka's dream actually is, and that's to be a model of all things. Which is very ironic to me, because, she knows Adrian, she knows an actual model. So hopefully, we might actually see how Adrian helped to bolster her career, because she is a very lovely young lady. But we see that Marinette is also trying to build her own portfolio in terms of her various different career goals, all the designs and clothings that she makes. She's a really good designer, and it's time for her to really put her work out there, and all of her friends want to help out, at least the female portion of her friends, with Juleka actually stepping forward and offering herself up as a model for Marinette's clothing line. However, Alia jumps on the initiative of getting Adrian in on this as well, since, hey, he's a model as well, so why not go for broke and get yet another model in on this whole situation? And while Adrian does at first kind of not want to go because he doesn't want to get in trouble with his dad, they actually managed to get out of class an hour earlier, so he has a little bit of time before his dad would even notice that he's gone missing. And he's not home on time. So Adrian actually shows his chops in terms of actually directing things in terms of fashion. Lighting, how they should pose her, where they should place her in terms of things. Certain different aspects to give her more glow in terms of her appearance is actually showing off pretty well. Meanwhile, Marinette is still very flustered and flabbergasted. She was against this because, she has work to get done, and she knows how she gets around Adrian. But, speaking of uncomfortable feelings, we see that Juleka is just not vibing with all of this. She's having a hard time actually keeping up with all of this situation. She's, unable to, just calm down. She's basically having a panic attack from the idea of doing this modeling thing. And meanwhile, Alia ultimately decides that Marinette and Adrian should both model the wares because, it's a wares that actually show off, that it can be worn by both male and female, and Marinette knows the clothing best, so it should probably look pretty good on her. leaving Juleka feeling dejected because she really wanted to do this. She really wanted to, start her modeling career, but she's kind of become her own worst enemy in that aspect. Now, while they are changing, Marinette goes to remove her earrings, despite the warning by Tiki that no, you shouldn't be removing that. What happens if something goes wrong? But Marinette, feels that, what could possibly go wrong? Of course. And, Plague even goes through that with Adrian as well, with Adrian saying, oh, it'll be fine. But, that's the irony of the whole situation, where it's just like this wears with all these different jewelry and accessories. But honestly, they kind of rock it, especially Adrian. And while he's, he looks a little bit more on the effeminate style, that's not a bad look for him. I actually kind of appreciate what he's going for by wearing this. Very nice, very fashionable. And in order to get Adrian, continuously with them, at least kind of almost have a day out with Adrian, Alia suggests that maybe they should just go out and do an outdoor fashion shoot. It would give them better lighting and quality, and Marinette might stop hyperventilating for the most part. Meanwhile, Juleka decides to stay behind because she's really devastated. She's just completely broken on this because she couldn't go through with it. She couldn't be the person she wanted to be. And while everyone looks back and, Marinette tries to talk things over with her to see if she's okay, Alia's kind of rushing them, saying, hey, we only have so much more time before Adrian has to go home. So they end up leaving her behind, and she laments this, and I can vibe with this feeling that she's having, this, feeling that you got in your own way. You could have been this better version of you if you just weren't so you, almost. And, sometimes that happens. Sometimes you're just too caught in your own head to actually do the things that you would really enjoy doing ultimately. Your passions. That's, a very typical symptom for, depressive mindsets, where you just sometimes beat yourself down and end up not doing things that you really care about, that would better your life at least to a certain degree or really make you happy. But these negative emotions are sensed by Hawkmoth, and it's not just Hawkmoth, as we see Natalie is also in the mix, as we see. And this is something that I always question, is the fact that, she has the Peacock Miraculous, and it was apparently damaged, but she seems to just, vibe with it. She seems to just, it seems to just have disappeared, that there was this consequence to Natalie using this ability. As she, summons, the Kwame of the Miraculous Duzu, and we actually get to see Natalie's transformation, which is Duzu, Duzu spread my feathers. So, we're actually seeing the transformation of Mayuri, which is very nice, very interesting. This is the first time we're ever actually seeing it, which took me off guard, because I'm just like, wait, why am I only just now seeing that transformation in full? A lot of things about this episode made me question where this all took place, and there was something specific that tipped me off to where this actually happens. As Hawkmoth sends out his Akuma, and Myra sends out her Amok. And so, while everyone piles up into the car, and Adrian sweet talks his bodyguard into taking them out and just, having a bit of a shoot. It's for a good cause, it's for his friends. Juleka ends up getting her wrist guard possessed yet again. On top of that, the little hairpin that she had ends up being possessed by the Amok. And so she is possessed by both Hawkmoth as well as Mayuri, and she is given the title of Reflekdoll yet again, but this time she is giving a special little bit of a boost, being the pilot of her own sentient monster named Reflekdoll, the title of this episode, where she uses the hairpin as a stick shift in order to control the actual monster. And she's able to spread her, the beam that she had before, which turned everybody into reflections of her. She's able to spread it a lot more in a wider area, just transforming more people into Reflekdoll. And while Marinette actually seems to be having a fun time just taking pictures with Adrien. Adrien is such a natural when it comes to taking pictures. They really do a good job of portraying that. I love the fact that Marinette really seems to be just mesmerized that she gets to actually be this close to Adrien. But this is interrupted when Reflekdoll just comes barreling in with the Reflekdoll screaming about, oh, this time I'll show you, this time I'll teach you how I felt and all that. So she's, this is almost therapeutic for Juleka, and she's kind of getting all those negative emotions out, but unfortunately on a very not healthy way. But Marinette goes to try to transform, only to realize that she does not have her Miraculous on her, and Adrien realizes the same, with their Miraculous and their Kwame both being in the trunk of Adrien's car. And when Marinette and Adrien make their way to the car, unfortunately, they have to try to make it up an excuse why they're both there, and it's, typical shenanigans. But when Juleka, Reflekdoll, goes after Marinette specifically because she's, still very angry about the whole situation with the shoot, and Marinette did not understand how she was feeling and all that good stuff, Marinette tries her best to talk her down, only for her to be transformed, in the attempt. And Reflekdoll even has Reflekdoll throw Adrien's car, which sends the Kwame tumbling out of the trunk. And they realize they have to try to find their owners in order to get them transformed, because this is a very bad situation. Paris will be doomed if they don't, get the Miraculous to their masters. And as Reflekdoll goes about finding all of her friends and trying to transform them, Plagg ends up running into none other than the transformed Marinette. And with not much time to lose, because it would be impossible for Plagg to actually find Adrien in all of this, Marinette puts on the Cat Miraculous and transforms into Lady Noir, which, dude, it's something I always kind of wondered, what would happen if they just switched Miraculous? But it was something that just never really came up, because there's no real reason for them to switch Miraculous. But to see this, and I love the design, I love the fact that Marinette has that long braided ponytail, kind of, dipping into her, Chinese heritage and ancestry. She still has the tight form-fitting cat suit, and it really kind of drives home something specific that I'll get to in a moment, as, Lady Noir goes in on Reflekdoll using Cat Noir's staff very proficiently. She's very capable with the staff, honestly. And because of this, Tiki has no choice but to find Adrien. And as Adrien, notices that, oh, hey, that must be Ladybug transformed into using the Cat Miraculous. That means I have no choice but to take the Ladybug Miraculous. And he transforms into, I think it was Mr. Bug? I think that's what they call him. And just, that really took me off guard, because it really highlighted something specific that I had not really thought about for a while here, and that's that these two characters, they're based off of Spider-Man and Black Cat. You know, you get it that they're gender bent versions of it. Ladybug is Spider-Man with the responsibility, the brooding, the over thoughtfulness, the very frayed relationship. Whereas Adrian is a reflection of two characters actually. Felicia Hardy, the Black Cat, the very crafty thief who's very sly, very playful, can sometimes be very violent and all that, and sometimes had the power of bad luck. But Adrian himself is kind of like an homage to Harry Osborn, with the very controlling dad and the sheltered lifestyle, the rich kid who doesn't really get to go out there that much. So they kind of merge these two characters together, Black Cat as well as Harry Osborn, and you get Adrian Agreste, which I love. I love seeing him in this uniform because it really drives home the Spider-Man vibe, especially with the way that the outfit looks. Just it's a very interesting realization that I'm just remembering all these little tidbits and notes because of all this. But while Marinette is fairly proficient in using the staff, Adrian, is very impulsive. Mr. Bug is just not very proficient with the yo-yo, using it as a deflector, and he's just ready to jump into using the Lucky Charm and all this and that without really thinking things through. As Hawkmoth and Mari notice it, it's just like, oh, they've switched their Miraculous. That means they'd probably be more susceptible to our attacks. As Lady Noir tries to talk Mr. Bug out of certain situations, like, don't, you gotta think this through, you have to rationalize this, there's a process to using the Lucky Charm and the Miraculous Ladybug, because, Mr. Bug just wants to just bring out that Miraculous, bring out the Lucky Charm. It'll be a mirror as before when Ladybug last defeated Reflekdoll, and it'll send the beam back right at her. But Lady Noir's just like, no, that's just not how that works. It's more complex. You don't always get what you want. It's a little bit more thoughtful than all of that. Not to mention, it doesn't help that we don't know where the Amok is and we don't know where the Akuma is. But Adrian feels like he really has it figured out already, so he just goes ahead and brings out the Lucky Charm. And of all things, it actually is a mirror, much to Marinette's surprise, because it was just that easy. It was just that straightforward. Needless to say, Lady Noir is none too pleased. She's a bit salty with how easily Adrian was able to adapt to her powers. But there's a lot more to it than just that, as Mr. Bug soon finds out when the mirror doesn't really hold up as well as it did before when it was just Reflekdoll without the Reflekdoll. The Reflekdoll really does put a cramp on what he's able to do with that one mirror. So, Lady Noir decides that she'll just bring out her Cataclysm, just run and take down the Senti monster quick, fast, and in a hurry. And she, uses the Cataclysm only for it actually to not destroy the Senti monster and just have it run amok. It just goes wild and out of control. And that just goes to show that you don't really know what these things are, able to do or how they affect certain things. And Adrian says something that really takes me off guard, and is that he never used his power on a Senti monster. He kind of questions, oh, what is this creature? This isn't a normal Akuma. And that kind of clued me into the fact that this takes place before the whole situation where Adrian had actually first met that Senti monster before. During that one time where Chloe was trying to get Ladybug to just come out, give her her Miraculous and all that. This in Miraculous, I think it was. So it shows that this episode was supposed to take place a lot sooner in. This is their first real encounter with, Mayuri than the Senti monster, at least from Cat Noir's perspective. Because I remember that in Miraculous, it seemed like Cat Noir already had dealt with a Senti monster before, and I was questioning that, and I had a lot of, like, wait, did he deal with a Senti monster before off screen or something? I'm confused, but this explains it. This was supposed to be the episode that introduced Cat Noir to the Senti monsters. We also see that Reflekdoll has lost control of her sentient monster as it just goes on a violent rampage. But while Myra feels that maybe they should step in and stop all this, Hawkmouth is kind of down with the chaos and destruction and feels that maybe something good will come out of this monster's rampage. But Lady Noir manages to use her staff to open up the Reflekdoll's eye, and Mr. Bug, uses that opening to get Reflekdoll out of the monster. But as Reflekdoll goes in to attack them, Mr. Bug is able to destroy the, bracelet and free the Akuma inside, very easily, very quick, fast, and in a hurry. His straightforward nature actually seems to work out. And I honestly love how Marinette just seems to be having a lot of fun just being, Cat Noir for a day. She's cracking jokes, she's cracking wise, she's having fun, and just kind of busting Mr. Bug's chops every step of the way. And as Mr. Bug actually gets to, for the first time, de-evilize an Akuma as he's always wanted, and he gets to bid the butterfly a fond bye-bye. Unfortunately, he's not able to use the Miraculous Ladybugs as well. The Senti monster is still running amok. And while he tries to use the Miraculous Vision to figure out how to properly use the Lucky Charm, he's got nothing. He's too, as Lady Noir realizes, she has a tendency to come up with these convoluted, overly complicated plans. That's her nature. But when it comes to Mr. Bug, he's more straightforward. He's a lot more naive to a certain degree, and that's because of his upbringing. But she realizes that a straightforward approach is probably best for him. That's when she realizes that there is a hatch on the back of Reflekdoll's head. A hatch that if you put something similar to a coin in, you'd be able to turn it. That's what the mirror is for. It's to open up that hatch on the back of Reflekdoll's head. So they manage to tie up and topple Reflekdoll. They're able to go in, and they realize that, oh, it's in the mass, it's in the stick ship. That's where the amok is. So Lady Noir breaks it, and Mr. Bug is able to de-evilize the feather and set everything right with the Miraculous Ladybug. I really do. I love this setup. I love the look of these two characters. It's really fun and fascinating. I love their transformations as well. And while Hawkmoth is very angry about the situation, Murray reassures him that they'll get them next time. And we actually get to see Dosu in her full appearance, because Dosu seems to be a very energetic, almost at least female-like character. Unlike Nuru, Dosu is very, outspoken, energetic, and loud. We also see Natalie suffering from using Dosu and the Peacock Miraculous. It's just like, okay, there it is. But again, it still raises the question, is it still hurting her to use this? Because in Miraculous, we didn't see any adverse effects to her using the Miraculous. So is it damaged or is it not? Is that why she only seems to use it sparingly in certain situations? And is that what ended up taking Mr. Aggress's wife away? Use of the P-Foul Miraculous? And if so, why was she using the P-Foul Miraculous? To what end? What was her end goal? But This is like this is like, as far as I can tell, the last instance of it coming up. That Miraculous just seems to be defective. But what's the best way to heal it? When Bunnix came back to the past with her broken Miraculous, it seemed like they had to damn near get a brand new Miraculous in order to get it to work properly. But I remember she said there was somebody who could help her in the future, so I wonder if that'll happen at some point as well. But this whole situation just raises a lot of questions in terms of how Mayuri actually works and what adverse effects it's having on Natalie. But while Lady Noir and Mr. Bug had some fun in each other's shoes, they're all too ready to change back. So Adrian hands over the Ladybug Miraculous over to Tiki, and Marinette hands over the cat Miraculous to Plague. And they meet back up with their respective owners, just happy to be back with the person that they really care for and really just have the most fun with both Marinette and Adrian having a newfound respect for their partners in superheroing. And as Marinette makes her way back, she decides to apologize to Juleka for not noticing how much this really meant to her. Not that, she should have known, Juleka didn't really make her intentions clear, but, she still wants to make it up to Juleka by allowing her to continue on with the photo shoot as a model, which she's, Juleka's as overjoyed as Juleka actually gets. But when it comes time for Adrian to head home, Marinette, in a very lucid moment, because she's fresh off that superhero vibe, so she still has some of her confidence, wants to ask Adrian if maybe he'll be able to stay a little bit longer. And Adrian decides to outright ask his bodyguard, hey, mind if I just hang around for at least a little bit till the shoot's done? And all the girls flash the bodyguard these really cute smiles and all that good stuff, and the bodyguard has a bit of an actual reaction to all of this. It's just like, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna disappoint this many young kids. And so Juleka gets to have her photo shoot with Adrian, looking very stylish, despite the fact that they have very different sized heads and eyes. Just it's kind of just mind-boggling the difference in how the female characters look in comparison to the male characters. But you have this fun photo shoot, everyone has a great time, everyone has a blast, it's pretty great, and Marinette takes some great pictures for the future of her portfolio and all that good stuff. And she's just happy to have helped out some good friends along the way. And thus we end our episode and the escapades of Lady Noir and Mr. Bug. Again, a fun episode, really cool, really great. Had a good time with it, especially seeing Marinette and Adrian walk a mile in each other's super suits. It was good to see how capable they could be at each other and what kind of misconceptions they had about each other's powers, with Ladybug having tendency to be a little bit more lucky, a little bit more fortunate, but a little bit more mindful, thoughtful, and convoluted in the way that she does things. But Cat Noir, he's all about the straightforward approach, and that goes into the fact that Adrian had a very sheltered upbringing, so of course he's straightforward. Of course he doesn't really go too far outside certain boundaries that you really would think that he would. He's all about direct action. That's why he'll always ask someone up front if they like him. He's not really one for secrets for the most part. Despite the fact that they're both keeping secret identities, but really a great time for really great interactions, and I can't wait to see more of this in the future. I really do hope we get a return of them swapping each other's Miraculous, or maybe even seeing more of that as well. I really cannot wait. But Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Did you like this episode? Did you dislike it? What was your favorite part? Did you enjoy seeing them swap abilities and powers? And do you kind of wish that you could see more of it? Because I definitely down for more adventures of Mr. Bug and Lady Noir. And if you liked the video, leave me a like. If you didn't, feel free to leave me a dislike. That way I can know, what, hopefully get to know what I should do better in the future. Subscribe and hit the bell icon, that way you don't miss out on the next big episode of Miraculous Ladybug. And if you want to find me on social media, just remember, if you just, Google Duuz-Diz-Din, I'm everywhere for better or for worse. And until the next video, just remember, sometimes speaking your mind and just looking at things from another person's perspective can give you a greater appreciation for the world around you and open your eyes to things that you otherwise would have missed when they were shining right before you. Until next time, I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and it's high time I went to bed. Until next time, bye-bye.